In this video, we're having a look at the HMD Fuse. Hi, I'm Lee. Welcome to the channel. I hope you're having a lovely day. So this is an interesting phone, and you may have seen it on the news. It's been promoted as, a really good phone for kids because you've got a lot of parental controls and things like that. We'll get onto that in a moment. But first, I just want to go over the specs and the basics. So it retails for $7.99 Australian at the moment. It is available, I think, at Officeworks and Harvey Norman, a couple of other places perhaps. Those are two places that I know of. In terms of the specs, it's quite a nice looking phone. I really like the back of the phone. Now, HMD phones, human mobile devices. Okay, that's what HMD stands for, human mobile devices. I did not know that. The first thing I want to point out here is that you see all these tiny little screws on the phone. What those are, well, obviously they're to hold it together, but what those represent is the fact that this phone is very, like a lot of the HMD phones, it's very repairable and you can replace things a lot easier than in other phones. So it's easier for you, the user. You don't have to take it into a store necessarily. You could if you wanted to, but you can buy the parts yourself and replace parts and change parts. So the idea is that this phone will last longer. Particularly if you're looking to buy it for the kid, you might not want to buy your kid a phone every couple of years, so you want the phone to last longer. And also, kids tend to not take care of things as much. I know that's a generalization, but it's accurate. So being able to repair it and replace parts that may become damaged is a nice thing. Another nice thing is it does ship with two cases actually. So it ships with this sort of rubbery, plasticky, silicone-y case, and also ships with this harder case, which has this cool little flash thing on it, which I'll show you how that works later. So that is the back of the phone. You'll also notice that there is a little connector down here at the bottom, and what that allows you to do is, you see on the connector of this case, it allows you to power the light off of that case, and there's some various other accessories you can get, but these are the ones that come in the box. So let's get on to the specs of the phone and just sort of like the basics. So it is a 6.56-inch screen. It's a 90 hertz refresh rate. So not the fastest, 120 is sort of like the faster one, but 90 is perfectly acceptable. It has 600 nits of peak brightness. That's not super bright. So, outside in the daylight, you might have to sort of cover it a bit, but it's okay. It's still pretty bright. The resolution is HD, so it's 720 by 1612. In terms of the cameras, you do have two cameras on the back here. So you've got a 50 megapixel camera and you've got a 108 megapixel main autofocus with smart EIS and 2 megapixel depth. It's got some pretty good cameras for the price. I think for $7.99, I think that's pretty decent. It has a 5,000 milliamp battery, so that's going to last you a fair bit of time. It definitely gets me through a day for basic uses and things like that. It's got 33 watt charging, so not the fastest charging yet, but 33 watts is pretty decent. It does not have wireless charging, unfortunately. In terms of storage, it comes with 128 gigs of internal storage. Not ideal. It would be nice if it was 256, but 128 is okay. And it is you can extend that. So you can put an SD card in the slot there, so you can extend the storage up to 1 terabyte. So that's pretty darn decent. The processor is a Qualcomm Snapdragon 4 Generation 2 octa-core. I'm not sure what that means. Look, it's not the fastest processor you can get, but in terms of just basic everyday stuff, the speed's just fine. You can play games on it. They're not going to run amazingly, but they're going to run okay. In terms of security, it does have a fingerprint scanner, and it also does have face unlock, so you can use the selfie camera in there to unlock it with your face. So that's the main sort of functions of the phone and the specs and things like that. But let's get into the kid-friendly features of this, or the parental control features of this. So this comes with a system built into it. See, I had at first thought it was just software, but it's actually built into the OS. So this isn't something that you can get on all phones. This is something specific to this phone, and it's a feature called Harmblock Plus. So basically, Harmblock Plus is installed on the phone. Then you can install Harmblock Plus on your phone as the parent, and it gives you loads of parental controls over the phone in terms of what can and can't be done with the phone and tracking the phone, all that kind of stuff. Now, a little thing about this, the phone does come with 12 months of free Harmblock, but after that, it is a $29 a month subscription after the first 12 months of using it. So let's have a look inside this phone. And I do appreciate the fact that the Harmblock phone for the parent is available for iPhone and for Android. So even if you're getting your child this Android phone, but you're an iPhone user, you can get the Harmblock app for an iPhone as well. So that's nice that you're not sort of locked into Android only if you want to use this for one of your kids. So here we go. So I've set this up. So you set up a profile for your kid, you set up a profile for yourself. You can see there that I can call Archie on his phone. I can see the battery percentage. I can see how many steps he's taken. I can see where he is. This is just my profile stuff. And then let's go and have a look at the actual profile stuff on here. So it shows me the location of the phone. It shows me how much it's been used. If I go in here, I can see the use case, all that kind of stuff. When you set this up, it asks you what apps you want to make available. So let's first have a look at the app side of things. So here you can see there it says hide apps. So if I tap on this, it shows me what apps are available and what apps are hidden. So you can see I've hidden loads, but let's say, for example, I want to give Archie access to the Apple Music app. So if I just tap on Apple Music there and say, right, well, I want to give him access to the app, you should see the app show up here on the phone very shortly, and there you go, there's Apple Music. So it shows up right away. And then if I want to hide it from him, I just tap on that, give it a couple of seconds, and Apple Music will disappear from the phone. So very easy to say what apps can be on the phone and cannot be on the phone. Now you can install them, but they'll be hidden completely. So that's the app stuff. Now let's have a look at some of the other features. So you can view activity. So I can tap on here and see how much activity is happening on the phone. You can also set school time. So you can say, right, well, the phone is usable or not usable between these times for school. And you can see there you've got the days as well. You can set bedtimes. So you can say when the phone can and can't be used from that perspective. You can set up a whitelist, so you can say what contacts they can and can't reach out to and be reached to from. You can set app timers, so that's really cool. So you can say that you can only set, they can only use the camera app from this time to that time, and so on. So you've got all these app limits, things like that. And one of the things you might be thinking at this stage is, well, hang on. Doesn't Android and iOS have a lot of these parental controls built in? Now, not all of these, like the app stuff and things. A lot of these features are built in so far, what I've shown you that are built in, but you've got to go out and find out how to use it. And you've got to check it out and work it out. And if you're not particularly tech savvy, I can see how having a feature like this, even though you could probably do a lot of this yourself, this makes it a lot easier to just control it from an app and do it from an app. So first of all, I think this is good for people who aren't particularly tech savvy, and this sort of works out all the parental controls for you. But then also, even if you are tech savvy, like someone myself, I don't know sometimes if I can be bothered to go through the different settings, whereas this is all in one place, and it does make it not that much easier, but it does make it easier. So I can see the selling point of that. So that's all of that stuff. You can see how many steps they've done. I don't know why that's particularly important, but you can do that. But then you've got a feature called Harmblock, and this is an interesting one. So if I tap on other limits, you can see here you've got safe walking, so you can say that they can't use the phone while they're walking. So that's kind of good. So you want to make sure that when they're walking to school, they're not on their phone, they're paying attention to traffic. I think that's quite a nice feature. You can set they can or can't access the accessibility stuff, and just if they can access their accessibility stuff, that allows them to sort of get around some of these things. So you might not want to give them access, but they may need access to the accessibility stuff, and therefore you might need to turn it on. And then you can also control the Google settings that they can and can't have on there. So that's quite a cool thing. So that's sort of the basics of what you can and can't do in the device. You've also got device settings, so you can confirm the phone number, you can set the whitelist, you can reset it to factory defaults. So that's some of the stuff that you can do here in the app. Harmblock. This is the last thing that I want to talk about. This is going to be a long part of the conversation. In fact, we're going to bring in a guest to talk about it in a moment. So you can block, allow Harmblock to prevent nude content from being captured. So you can say, oh, well, you can't take photos of nudity. Screen block allows Harmblock to block content visible on the screen. So if nude content is on the screen, it'll pixelate it out. File block, so allows Harmblock to locally stored files and to delete them if there is nude content. So if someone sends them a photo, or if they try and upload a photo with nudity on it, it blocks it. And then also website block list. Harmblock will block access to websites containing nude content. The use of third-party VPNs is not allowed, so they can't get around this by using VPNs and things like that. So that is definitely a feature that is, an interesting one. And I think it leads to a wider conversation about, what do we want to block our kids from? Because Yeah, you know what? The thing is, it's a really interesting conversation, and I was practicing this conversation the other day before I was going to film this, and then I realized it's more of a conversation. I don't want to be just talking sort of at you, which I appreciate. It's a video, you can't I'm sure you'll let me know down in the comments what your thoughts are, but I wanted to actually have a conversation with someone about this. So I'm actually going to bring my mate Simon in. I've got a 10-year-old son. He's got two boys at different ages. One's older than Archie, one's just a little bit older than Archie. And I thought it'd be interesting for two dads to have a conversation about this and just give some of our thoughts. Because, I mean, there's good and bad to this, and I think it's worth having conversations. So let's bring Simon in now. Well, Simon, thanks for joining me. So that's the phone there. One little cool feature I want to show you on it, a nifty little feature. So this isn't the phone, but this is a case, one of the cases that come with the phone. It's got this light on the back that you can use as a selfie light, which is actually quite bright for selfie stuff.
So how is that controlled? Is it plugged in? Is the case plugged in, or is it Bluetooth?
No, the case is plugged in. So there's actually like connectors on the bottom of the phone that connect to the back of the case. So there's multiple different, there's supposed to be a whole bunch of different kind of cases that you can get for it, but this one actually comes with it, which is nice. So
interesting. So
we talked a little bit about this last night. Actually, I want to show you a little bit of the app that you've got that controls it. Now, I've shown this already in the video, but I thought it's just worth going over it again because I think it is quite nice features. And I'm going to cut my camera, and hopefully this will work. Let's see if I'm as smart as I think I am. Ooh, so
I can't see anything.
You're joking. I can see that you can see it. You're hilarious.
Oh, sorry, God. Yeah, I know.
So here's the app that you've got. So you've got your settings, what have you. You got Archie settings there. So you can see activity. You can see the batteries of the like. You can actually call up your kid and go, hey, plug your phone in. It's about to die. Which I could actually see happening with my kid quite a lot. So you've got school times, you can set school times. You've got bedtimes, you can set bedtimes. You've got white contactless, you can set up a contactless. You've got app timers, you can set different times for apps. You can hide or add apps. So that's kind of cool, really easy. So I could just go, right, well, I want to add Apple Music, give it a couple of seconds, and hey presto, Apple Music pops up, and then you can hide it, and you can go, no, you don't have that app. They have to ask permission to install apps, blah, blah, all that kind of stuff. But the thing that I wanted to talk to you about was the blocking nudity stuff. So you can have... So you can have the camera block nudity, so they can't take photos of anything nudity. Screen block, so they can't see anything on the screen.
You want to test that? I'll just take my... No.
Yeah. So just to let you know, dear viewers, Simon and I were chatting about this last night, and Simon said, "Oh, so you want to take pictures of nude things?" And I was like, "This is actually signed into my Google account and into Archie's Google account, and I don't need that on his 10-year-old search history. Thank you very much."
No, so I'd be the one getting a call from the police. Great, thank you.
So the thing that I wanted to talk about is, I mean, first of all, I think just the practicality of, I don't know how well this actually works. Like I have tested a little bit, and it works okay. But I mean, like sometimes, I mean, we've all had experience with AI lately, where there's a shoulder, that's nudity. Block the photo because we can see the person's shoulder. So I think, and I understand why. In these sorts of things, the instinct of the company is to rather block it than not block it. So I can appreciate why they'd want to do that. Fair enough. But first of all, let me set my things about nudity. I actually don't think there's anything wrong with nudity. I think the world would be a better place if we were all a bit more comfortable with our bodies, because there's nothing that's necessarily inherently sexual about nudity. Like, you can just be nude or not. Interestingly, I was just having this conversation with my mum just before we got on this call, because I was saying to her that, when I was growing up, I never saw my parents naked. And she said, yeah, because we wanted you to know that naked was a private thing. And I was like, well, it's interesting how communication works, because that's the way you meant it. But the way that it imprinted onto me as a child was that being naked was something to be ashamed of. And I actually grew up with really quite serious body issues where I had issues about my body and and all that kind of stuff. And when we had Archie, Mandy and I both. Yes, Simon, you had something to say?
Is that because you're short?
Yeah, because all my nakedness is squashed in. Yes.
I had to slip in one short joke, and that was it. I'm sorry. Please continue.
Any chance to slip it in? Yep, Simon. Okay. And so when we had Archie, Mandy and I were very deliberate in the sense of we don't want him to be uncomfortable with being nude. So, like, if I'm in the shower, he'll walk in and use the toilet, or if I'm using the toilet, he'll come in and have a shower, or whatever, because we don't want it to be something that he can have issues with. Of course, we did have to explain to him, now that he's having sleepovers at friends, that when you're having sleepovers outside of the house, you do close the toilet door when you go to the toilet.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the first thing is, like, I don't want nudity to be a bad thing, because nudity in itself shouldn't be a bad thing. I think that sets a bad precedent.
No, I tend to agree. Yeah.
Having said that, I can see how sort of one thing can lead to another, and how it feels like we've realized that there is a challenge with kids being on the internet. And this phone and these types of phones are trying to do something about it. I'm just not sure how they're going about it. It's one part of the solution, but I don't think people shouldn't think, oh, this is going to solve all the problems, kind of thing. I'll stop blathering on and let you go.
In terms of, this type of control over a device, like, it's not uncommon. We have control. Well, we have questionable control over I've got a 15-year-old and I've got an 11-year-old. My 11-year-old doesn't have a phone, and won't have a smartphone, I don't think, for a while. The 15-year-old didn't have a smartphone for a long time, and then he got one, and then he broke it, and then he had to save up and buy a new one. But, on the 15-year-olds, we use Family on the Apple, what's it called?
Parental controls. Yeah,
parental controls. Yeah. And look, they make it so complicated that it can actually just not work, because you've got a 15-year-old, and the 15-year-old knows more about his phone than you ever will, right? So they can get around all of this stuff, and it's great to have these controls in place, as long as they actually do what they say on the tin. But we've got to remember that I think this sort of control, and this is what I was getting at, is pretty new. People are starting to realize the damage of online in general, not just social media, but all aspects of that. And I guess my credential there, I've been a social media manager for nearly 20 years.
So it's your fault.
It pretty much is my fault. Yeah, but it was since before the evil. Social media was about sharing and connection, whereas now it's about advertising and porn and gambling and drugs. And, my 11-year-old comes home from school and goes, one of my friends was trying to get onto the dark web. And I'm like, it's not really what we should be doing with our time,
Yeah.
It's great to have those controls in place. I saw when you showed the screen there, you have options to turn on and off those nude filters. So what are those options that you have?
So the options are, and I'll just cut to that camera.
Wow, look at that technology.
Oh.
All right, I'm going to see if I can move myself out of the way so I can see your screen. Yep, there we go.
So the options are camera block, allow Harmblock to prevent nude content from being captured. Screen block, allow Harmblock to block content visible on the screen if nude content is detected. And I guarantee it'll get it wrong from time to time.
Yeah, sure. All filters do.
Yeah, file block. So allows Harmblock to scan locally stored files and to delete them if nude content is detected. I think that could be dangerous in the sense of if it finds something that it thinks is nudity and it deletes it and so on. And then allow Harmblock to block access to websites containing nude content. This is an important one. The use of third-party VPNs is not allowed when website block is enabled.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah. So they definitely are trying to make it as locked down as possible.
Look, I think all of those are good steps in the right direction. And, like full self-drive in cars, it's going to take a while before they get it right. Or like, AI on phones, whatever AI is on a phone these days. I mean, everyone throws that term around. But Yeah, I think it's going to take, I work sort of in the photography industry. I work with a lot of fine art photographers, and a lot of them are fine art nude photographers or partially nude, or, there's skin in a frame. Is that going to delete that artist's work?
Yeah.
That's relevant, but it's not really relevant to this journey our kids are on. Um,
I
I agree there needs to be some way to mitigate some of the harm
yeah.
that's happening online because it's pretty horrific.
And you know what? And I'm going to say, like, I appreciate. I appreciate what I'm about to say is a bit willy-nilly in the sense that, like, what we have tried to do with Archie, and we've had some of these conversations with him already, is we try and have open and honest and grown-up conversations with him as early as possible. Try, basically, he's going to find out all the stuff from his mates anyway. So
That's right.
So we want to try and at least give him some of the information from our perspective before he gets it from the mate's perspective. And it's not, and we're not having the conversations unless he brings it up. Like, we're not sitting him down and going, right, well, we want to talk to you
force it
about the
down his
birds and the
throat.
bees.
Yeah.
It's more if it comes up in conversation, we don't shy away from the conversation. We try and have a grown-up conversation with him.
I just had a great thought.
Yes.
What they need to add to that list of options off and on is mate blocker, which when you turn that on, a trunk monkey comes out and clubs the mate that's talking about boobs. Great. Let's do that. Next big thing.
I think legal might want to have a word or two with you about that. They might want a couple of tweaks. Let's just see how we can workshop that idea.
Trunk monkey was a thing, man.
So
yeah, a vibe. Right. Sorry.
So again, it's I appreciate that it's that's the ideal world in the sense of, we'll have these logical conversations with them, and then they'll know what's right and wrong, and everything will be great. And
sure.
That's not how the world works. But
it is part of a good ecosystem
Yeah.
in terms of a device like this. Like, give your kid the knowledge to go, okay, these blocks are in place and this is why.
Yeah.
So when the friend comes and goes, oh, look what I saw, he can go, okay,
Yeah.
maybe don't show that around, or have a little bit of 11-year-old knowledge, and I'm talking about my 11-year-old, to sort of be able to deal with that rather than
and that's also the thing in the sense of, like, I think at different ages it's a completely different conversation in the sense of,
that's right.
With my Archie being at 10 and your child being at 11, the 15-year-old would be a very different conversation. The other thing, I mean, I don't know what you were like at 15, but when I was at 15, pixelation wasn't going to stop me. I had an imagination. I can work with pixelation. That's no problem.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
So,
compared to when we were 15, though, the internet is. I believe. I can't remember what the song is, but the internet is for porn.
Yes, it's from Avenue Q. Avenue Q.
There we go. And look, it is everywhere, and it's in everything, and even things like Snapchat adding a certain filter, and that certain filter will add stuff that just shouldn't be on a kid's phone. Yeah, this is a recent thing I've seen.
Wow.
There's also, kids are seeing some really harmful stuff in games. Roblox is a good example of, things that just shouldn't be online for kids to see. Phones like that aren't going to prevent that. And that comes back to the parental, not the parental controls.
Yeah.
Parents being aware of what their kids are doing.
I think, I was just thinking as you were saying, I think one of the messages that I definitely want to get across is this phone, the thing that I want to get across is this is a good tool, but you can't rely on something like this alone.
No, that's correct.
Like this, this has to be part of the solution, and I'm not sure if they've gone too far, if they haven't gone far enough. Time will tell, sort of thing. Everyone's got to make their own decisions for their own family, kind of thing. But you can't just go, right, we'll get this for our kid and everything.
You certainly can't do that.
No, you can't do that. Like, you can't just say, right, we're just going to get this for our kid, and then, right.
And that's it.
We're done,
Yeah, no, it's a journey. And look, it's changed a lot for me. You mentioned the 15-year-old, and he hasn't really been aware even of girls until this last year. And I was kind of
no judgment.
Yeah, no judgment. But yeah, now he is. But I think he's got a pretty reasonable group of friends. And look, it comes down to it's your parents first, but I think at his age, it's a lot to do with his peers, and what they're all talking about. And you can guide that. We had three of his, oh my gosh, four teenagers in one bedroom for 2 nights
So
last
much
week.
noise.
Actually, they were pretty good. They were pretty good. It's weird. They've reached that age where they can go and get fish and chips and sit in a park without necessarily being arrested.
I'm just
It's
going to
great.
pause you for 1 second because it's really bothering me. Your camera's focused on your background, not on you. Can
Oh,
you?
really?
Yeah.
Camera.
No, it's still focused on. There we go. There we go. It's on you again. Yep. There we go.
I have to do that. That makes the camera stop.
Oh.
So if I do that and do this, it follows me.
Well,
But
at least someone's interested.
yeah, exactly. I think it might have thought that was my head.
Your head does look like a guitar. You're right.
Um,
You're talking about 15-year-olds going out for fish and chips by their own.
yeah, that's right. Yeah. And what I was trying to get to was when it takes that old, adage from our parents' era. It takes a community to raise a child, or whatever the saying is. And we had those three boys over there, and they were all giggling and talking about some girl. But if anything derogatory came up and we heard it, we could advise,
Yeah.
or yeah. And that we're all sort of on this parenting journey.
No, I know exactly what you mean. Like Mandy says that to Archie a lot. She goes, "Well, I've like
Everything's new.
yeah, like
Yeah,
we're all working it out because we've never yeah."
that's right.
And every kid is different, like what works for one parent might not work for another parent, and
100%.
and
Yeah.
every week is different. What worked this week
Oh
might not
man.
work next week. So
Yesterday morning was different. All right.
yeah,
Yeah, look, it's fun. And, the kids are so different. For example, I think my 11-year-old, in terms of his technology use, will be very different to my 15-year-old. My 15-year-old can only communicate via Snapchat with his friends. And because he's got a good, tight-knit friendship group, we still limit his time on Snapchat. But, it's getting progressively harder. This is how I talk to my friends. Are you trying to stop me from talking to my friends? And you have to have those conversations. But the 11-year-old, he's different. He can actually talk to his 11-year-old buddy. I gave him a lift to school this morning because I was late. And, they'll sit in the back of the car and they'll talk about drawing. This morning it was about how to draw Mr. Men. And, they can have conversations. But I think being involved in your kid's life and knowing what they're doing online is a big part of this whole safety push, which comes down to phones just like that one.
and also just I want to add something in there, just like because I don't want parents to feel like we're shaming them's the wrong word, but just like I appreciate the fact that we're all time poor these days, and so we all want to spend time with our kids. Well, maybe not all of us, but most of us want to spend time with our kids, and even if we don't, we realize that we need to spend time with our kids, but sometimes we just can't. So also don't feel like this is turning into an agony aunt video, but anyway, we do what we can. Do what
We
you
do
can.
what we can.
Yeah.
Yeah. Parents, do better. Oh,
Yeah,
hang on. No, we were going for the opposite of that.
Yeah.
No, it is hard. It's hard. I mean, I can't for 1 second imagine being, I'm fortunate to be in a marriage and there's two of us managing the kids, but I can't imagine being a single parent trying to bring up a kid in this day and age.
Yeah.
Like, it's full on. It
Yeah.
really is. It's hard stuff. So phones like that, wow, how's my segue? Phones like that can certainly go a ways to helping you achieve your goals. Cutting kids down on screen time, which not everyone thinks is important, but I really do think is important. I've seen the decline of kids' attention spans over years,
Well, let me ask you about
and adults.
Sorry, what?
Yeah,
But
exactly.
okay, let me ask you about screen time because when you're talking about screen time, it made me think about it because I don't know about you, but like we'd like to limit Archie's screen time, and we do to a certain degree. There's screens off at 7:30 at night, but other than that, we don't limit it nearly as much as we'd like to. because COVID broke us, because we both had to work through COVID, and the only, like, it was nanny iPad, you know, and the problem was, like, unfortunately we set that precedent, and it's hard to kind of, although it's interesting, like, just the distraction, like Archie will be playing something on his Switch, but he'll have like a YouTube video or something playing while, like, he can't sit and do one thing without something else going on in the background. And like, I can't comprehend that. Like, so it's weird. Like, in some instances, like sometimes I'm like that, and other times I'm like, no, I need absolute sight. It's like when most men will turn down the radio when we need to park.
Or open a window when they need to turn a corner. It's like, I can see through the glass.
So I don't know where I was going with
that.
Yeah, mate,
the 11-year-old does it as well. So they are, the boys are, you know, no games during the week. Well, that's the plan. Sebastian has had his laptop recently because he uses Snapchat on it to talk to all of his buddies. They've got a group on there where they all talk after school. And you know, like, I mean, it's different times. When I was his age, after school, I was on the phone with the curly cord and the spinny dial outside the door, you know, for 2 hours. And Mum's like, get off the phone. I might get a phone call. Mum, no one ever calls you.
And then when Mum was on the phone, you were like, I'm on the internet.
Oh, no, there was no internet. Not when I was on the phone. But yes, those times.
You're 1 year older than me.
Yeah. Well, there was...
Yeah, that one. Yeah.
The one that took 5 days to download the demo of Quake. Yeah.
And it was pixelated.
Now it takes 4 seconds. Yeah, pixelated. But where was I going with that? Yeah, look, trying to control screen time as well, it is really hard. And, you know, you have to put up with tantrums, and you have to put up with trying to explain things over and over and over again.
Yeah.
I do think it's important. Sometimes it's not possible, and we do what we can.
Yeah. I think that's pretty much it. I think sort of final thought, well, any final thoughts from you on the phone or a thing like this?
Yeah. So I have one of these, and we are trying to use parental controls ineffectively, it would seem. You know, I don't know. I need it to be simplified for it to actually work. And I think the ship has sailed with Seb. He's 15. He's turning 16 soon. He's not going to be under the government social media ban.
Oh, we should do a complete separate video about that.
Don't get me started on that. But the 11-year-old, you know, he's going into high school next year. He's already saying, well, I can't go to high school without a phone. And it's like, well, here's a Nokia. And he's like, I can't go to high school without a smartphone.
Well, this is a Nokia. I mean, HMD is Nokia, I think.
Right. But a phone like that, I think it's all about, you know, as much as it pains me to say, it's the appearance of having an old flaming flip phone. Come on. I mean, my Motorola brick from 1991, you could put a hammer in, you could put a nail in with that thing. But a phone like that had, I haven't used it, but if the simplistic parental controls in the app actually work and do what they say on the tin, I think that is probably, I'm not going to use the GC word, game changer.
Oh, no, because
nothing's a game changer anymore.
You know what's a game changer? Playing Monopoly and then moving to Lotto. That's a game changer.
What?
Well, you've changed the game. Sorry, but anyway, I'm being pedantic.
We can't talk about Lotto when we're trying to restrict
Risk. Okay, Risk. I couldn't think of another board game. I couldn't think of another board game.
Snakes and ladders.
I panicked.
I need parental controls for you. Turn Lee off. I'd be very keen to see how it would work and if it would work effectively. And if it does, I think that's probably a good way forward with development and, you know.
Yeah, I think I mentioned this earlier in the video before I brought you in, but something that I really appreciate is the fact that the Parents app is available on iPhone as well as Android. So even if you're on iPhone, you can get one of these for your kid, and you still got control and whatever. So it's not just.
Well, I think that's absolute necessity, isn't it?
It is, but never assume. Never assume. So.
Yeah, fair play.
Yeah, I think it was very wise. Yeah, no, look, I agree. I think I don't know.
Can you just tell me the brand again?
It's the HMD Fuse.
HMD. Look at this. You're pushing a sale and we're on the damn.
799 or slightly cheaper in other places. So 795 at Officeworks and 799 at Harvey Norman.
The 128 gig in black at Officeworks is $797.
Oh, it's gone up by $2 since I checked yesterday.
Now,
Now,
it's a cool looking phone.
one thing, it is a good, I do like the look of it. One thing to mention, and the specs are decent for an Android phone. One thing to mention is, so the Harmblock feature, like the parental stuff, you get 12 months for free, and after that it's $29 a month. Which is not a lot of money, but that comes up to $360 a year, so it's not insignificant.
That is a lot of money for a lot of people that need this sort of technology.
Yeah. I don't love subscription plans, but I think, look, maybe someone could look at it and go, well, yeah, our kids will have it for 1 year, and then afterwards our kid will not need the blocks, kind of thing, which I think is too ambitious. No, that's not going to work.
Well, if you're going to get it for an 11-year-old, you're not getting rid of it for 2, 3, 4 years. I mean,
well, a nice feature of that, again, so you would be continuing to pay the subscription.
Yeah.
But a nice thing about pretty much all of the HMD phones is that, and I'm just going to cut angles again so you can see it. So you see how it's got all these tiny screws on the back?
I can.
So all the tiny screws on the back. There's the connectors, by the way, for the case that I was talking about.
Oh, yeah.
So all the tiny screws. So this is sort of repairable by the user. So So they will sell you the parts for this. I think it's like, obviously, I don't think the process, but like the battery and various other little bits and pieces, you can actually change and remove parts yourself. So
That's handy.
Particularly, if it's going to be with a kid, they may drop it more likely than.
How replaceable is the screen on a device like that?
I don't know. I'd have to look into it, but I think it is user replaceable.
Okay. Interesting.
But if you're getting it for an 11-year-old, you definitely want a screen protector.
Yeah, I think so.
But yeah, so that is the HMD Fuse. I hope this video was helpful. I hope it was useful. If it has been helpful or useful, please like and subscribe. To the channel. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And
right.
if you
have already liked and subscribed, thank you very much, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Safe and happy.
See ya.
Pixelating. Can you hear me all right?
No.
No. Okay, that's not gonna...
Yes, I can. I was being facetious.
Okay. No, actually, let me just set manual focus for that. No, that wasn't manual focus. It's the manual. That's the manual focus button. Focus on the damn phone. Thank you. Okay, well, thanks, Simon, for joining me.
Sorry, you better start again. I'll probably. Actually, hang on.
So many bleeps for the bloopers.
No. I just blew my nose, opened my mouth to breathe in, and sucked the tissue in.